Before we get started, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell to receive notifications. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to be sharing a very special offer at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned right to the end. I'm Tim Matcham, known as the Property Finance Coach, and I'm a mentor, a property investor, and a best-selling author. I wrote a book called How to Attract Armchair Investors for Property, which got to be a #1 bestseller on Amazon. And that's also available on Audible too. And actually, the Audible version outsells the paperback version by about 10 to 1, although I know many people who've bought both the paperback and the Audible version. It's had some great reviews, and I know people who've read it have benefited massively from the content. I actively invest in property myself, and I work actively with investors. So I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk as well. And I have at the last count 2 property companies, as well as my own private investing. The first action #1, get super clear on what you want from property. This will make it much easier for you to share when you're talking with estate agents and investors. If you're talking to estate agents and investors, being really clear about what you want and what you want to achieve and what your expectations are on property makes it much easier. So action #1 is to really focus on your strategy. The reason I say that is because I was having a conversation recently with someone who said, Tim, I've got my strategy. And I said, great, that's fantastic. Yes, she said, I'm going to do serviced accommodation. Brilliant. Yes, I'm going to do it in London, Derby, Manchester, Liverpool, and Bristol. And I said, that's not one strategy, that's 5 strategies. You can't possibly hope to get sufficient traction in any one of those areas to have any chance of succeeding in that space. If the maximum you can do is just 20%, so that's 1 day a week on each of those areas, you're never going to get good enough. You're never going to know the area well enough, and you're never going to get to know the pricing, the agents, what's going on in the area well enough to be able to succeed. So particularly when you're starting out, be really crystal clear on what you're looking for and understand why this is what you're after. Again, when I'm talking to my mentees, I really impress upon them the need to understand what they want from property. Why is it they're doing it? I hear so many people who are perhaps doing a rent-to-rent strategy, and I ask them why they're doing rent-to-rent. And incidentally, there's nothing wrong with rent-to-rent if it's the right thing for you. But when you establish that their long-term goal is actually to build a portfolio, maybe to provide a legacy for their children, whatever it might be, it's not in alignment with the strategy. So they're doing it because they think it's the only thing they can do, rather than something that's actually going to help them to achieve what it is they're after from working in property. Having established what your strategy is, the next thing to know is exactly your numbers on what works for you and why. One of my mentors is a guy called Andy Gwynn, who I'm sure many of you will have come across. And he talks about something called the reticular activating system, your RAS, which is a filter. It's actually a primitive part of the brain, and I believe it's at the top of the spine. What this filter does is it filters out all of the extra information. We're bombarded with stimulants all of the time, and our brain filters all that out so we can cope with it. What it does is it shows us the things that we tell it are important to us. So again, the clearer we can be about what it is we're looking for. One of the best ways of describing how the reticular activating system works is if you've ever gone into a car showroom and spec'd up a car, and you've gone in and let's say you've chosen a black Golf GTI. And when you come away from the showroom and all of a sudden every other car on the road is a black Golf GTI, to the exact same specification as the one you have just spec'd up in the showroom. They were there all the time, but you didn't send a message out to the world that you were actually interested in that, so it wasn't showing you them. Right, that's something I want. That's something I'm interested in. Your reticular activating system kicks in and shows you those things. So the clearer you can get about what you're looking for, the easier it is for your natural system to kick in and help you and support you in what you're doing. And now is a brilliant time to be doing that, because you've got time to physically look at where you are going and what you are doing and why you're going there. I certainly have had more time working on my business than time working in the business during this lockdown period. And that's given me time to reflect exactly on where I'm going and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So getting that clarity now is a stunningly good time to be doing that. You should be doing it anyway, but now is a really good time to be doing it if you're not. The other question you need to ask yourself with this is, who are you going to work with? Property is very much a people business. Trying to do it on your own is hard work. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean to say you have to be physically in business with a business partner or with other people, but you can leverage the skills and the input that your power team and support team can provide you, whether they're accountability partners, buddies, people who are sharing the journey with you in some way that can reflect of. As I say, property can be really lonely if you're working on your own. I know there are some people who work in partnership with their life partner, but finding somebody who you gel with, who you share the same value, is a huge support. It's also worth understanding the various different skill sets that you have. I work with a profiling system called Contribution Compass, which is a very powerful profiling tool based on the ancient Chinese I Ching. And it really helps you to understand where your strengths are and where you should be looking for help and support. The value of that is that it also helps you understand your strengths. It makes it easier to share them with other people. Now, if you think that you find it difficult to do certain things, bear in mind that somebody else probably finds it difficult to do the things that you find easy when you're in your flow. And therefore, matching yourself up with somebody in that space is going to be massively beneficial to both of you. So getting clarity on where you're going, what you're doing, how you're going to get there, who is going to be part of your plan, is a really good exercise to do now. So dig deep into that. The clearer you can get with your strategy before you get started, the better. So that's action number one. I mentioned at the beginning that I had a special offer for you. I'm launching Property Ambition, an online course designed to help you attract armchair investors. I'll share the link in the description below. The launch price for this is just £650, but that will increase to £750 at the end of May. So make sure you get in there quick. And we'll be sharing lots of bonus materials as part of this. We're looking to get feedback from people who sign up so that we can add even more value as we go. Thanks very much. See you soon. I wish you every success in your property journey.